so I ran to my mother and turned on her sister, my aunt was also there. And then we left that train station and we went to a place where they told us we could, they had a garage there, on that house, and we could live in that garage. There was nothing in there but stone floor. And so we just laid there and tried to get some food and things like that. But then the revolution started again, I guess, and we heard the machine gun fire, and we didn't know what it was, so we lifted the garage door and peeked through it, and you could see these traces going back and forth in the street. And it turned out a lot of Indonesians came up on the street, and there were some Japanese in two of those houses, and they were firing at them because they thought they were after them, which was true. And so they kept shooting them down, and those pile get bigger and bigger, and then they ran out of ammunition. Then they came running through the street, and they got to them, and they slit their throats, and then they dragged them through the street, and we could see that to wherever they wanted to do with it. I don't know what they did with them, but that, and then from there, they let's see what there was a time when we were there out on the street, and I got two B-25s, and they flew over some old pamphlets, and they said that they would come over the next day at noon, and they're going to bomb the radio station, which is only about a few houses away, maybe 2 blocks away or something. And right at 12 o'clock they came over, and they were flying fairly low. The bomb doors open, and they saw these bombs slowly coming down from behind those buildings. And of course you could hear the blast, and we started laying down because so we didn't get knocked over. And then they turned around, and well, that was it. They destroyed that station because we went quickly to look at it. But then, when we were there, the Indonesians came by, and they said we have to go to such and such a place, and it turned out that was an Indonesian concentration camp. And so now we were back in a concentration camp with only Indonesians, and a lot of people there, and very little food again. And so we stayed there, I think it was about 6 months or something. Well, I could check that, but then during the fighting, there some of these Gurkha troops, they fight for the Dutch and the British, and they came over and they found us there, and they said, "Wait a minute, look at all these people here," and so there was a field there, and they said, "Well, we'll come back and pick your people up." And I said, "Oh, okay." Then they started landing these DC-3s on that field, and so they pushed us all in this airplane and closed the door, and they took off, and other planes then picked the rest of it up. Yeah, picked the rest of it up. Anyway, we flew to around the area where Bandung, city of Bandung was, and so there's where they landed, and we just were in that place, and they said that's the safe place, which is not really true because they were always shooting at each other, especially at night. But we had a house there. And so we went to the house, and I remember that house a little bit.
This is in Bandung?
Bandung, yeah.
Bandung?
Bandung. And now Bandung is a pretty big city. And we had an uncle that had apothecary in Yogyakarta. And but I remember vaguely about him. Anyway, we were in the house for a while, and we also we went to school, school, in a building that my uncle used to own, and it was bombed, and it was kind of burned out, and we got taught in that burned out room, and not very much, of course. But then they came to my mother and said, things are not looking good for us, and I suggest for your safety and the safety of your children, go back to Holland. We have a boat there ready for you, and you can take that boat. And so we went on the ship, and then we started going.
Was it the Indrapura?
Yeah, it was Indrapura, yeah. I still have the little, what do you call those things? But you know, when you light them and it's for cigarettes or something. Cigarette lighter. You had the ship on there, I still have that.
Mm.
So we went to Holland, and that took a month because the ship had to turn around because people were sick, and it started to reach Indonesia, and then they died, and then shoved them overboard, and some maybe dropped off at Indonesia, and then we went again towards we went up north through the
Suez Canal.
Through the Suez Canal, then through the Mediterranean, and that's why we went to Tunisia, yeah. And so, and finally, we came to this, I can't even remember what they call it. Is that, you have that narrow pathways out of the Mediterranean, I don't know what they call it.
Strait of Gibraltar?
Yeah, Strait of Gibraltar, yeah.
Uh-huh.
Okay, thank you. And then from there we went north. And before we went to the Suez Canal, we stopped in a little place. And they gave us all these warm clothes, and they gave us shoes. And I thought, who the hell wants to wear shoes? Because we never wore shoes. And all this heavy clothing. But then when we came out to the straits, and we went to the north, Gulf of Biscay, they call that, I think. And we came north, and that was a heavy winter going on north of us. And it was getting so cold, and I was glad that they gave me all these warm clothes. And so then they shipped us to Rotterdam, and from there we took a train up to The Hague. And so that's I lived there for.
Before you came to the U.S. in 1956?
August 1956. August
So here he is, years later, and he has cute grandkids. Give your Opa a hug. Full of well. Do you have any questions for your Opa?
This is my princess.
Living history, family, yes. Yes, and
I love my kids, my grandkids.
we love Opa. Thank you for your story. Ask your elders for their stories, and of course, and war. It's a destructive, terrible thing. And let's put our money towards education and libraries.
This is our strong guy. he does all the strong things for lifting.
Yeah. Back to family and life. So end war and don't raise the debt. End the war. Debt, war, banks. That's why we have suffering.
War is insane. It's totally insane, and it's only done for money, not for people to rescue them. All that bunch of baloney. It's all done for money. Money, money, money.
Yeah, let's do things for people, for family,
Yeah.
for simplicity, good love. So
Yeah.
thank you, Opa!
Okay.
Find your family stories, tell your stories.
Yeah.
Thank you, Opa. Namaste, have a magical day.
Okay.